History whispers not only about what happened, but also about what did not. The world we know is the result of an incredible struggle fought on the front lines and at the negotiation tables in 1945. What if the victors of World War II had been the forces of history's darkest, most ruthless ideology? Today, we explore that terrifying possibility, a dystopian universe where the Nazis achieved victory. This is not merely the loss of a war. It is the nightmare scenario where hope, freedom, and all known moral values were erased from the face of the earth. After that critical moment in 1945, everything we knew would have been inverted. London's spirit broken, Moscow's defenses fallen, and the U.S. reduced to an isolated sanctuary. The world would now be governed by a Reich that had declared the vast plains of Eastern Europe its living space, establishing an inhumane racial hierarchy as global law. It is no longer Berlin, but Germania that exists. Albert Speer's immense stone architecture rises, symbolizing the absolute power of the New World Order. Europe would be completely reshaped. Slavic lands would be colonized under the Lebensraum doctrine, and Western European nations controlled by puppet regimes, their economies serving the Reich's industrial needs. This would ensure perpetual hardship and economic crises in the occupied territories. Germany's ideology of the master race would become the state's core policy, with cruel oppression and discrimination against undesirable groups institutionalized in every aspect of daily life, fostering an atmosphere of fear and suspicion. A Nazi victory could have established a grim power balance with Japan. The United States, following its defeat in Europe, might have become an isolated superpower struggling with internal problems. Great Britain could be occupied. The world would become multipolar. Nazi-dominated Europe and Africa, the Japanese co-prosperity sphere, and an isolated American continent. A dangerous Cold War, heavy with ideological and military tension, would be inevitable. The race for the atomic bomb would be paramount, leaving the world perpetually on the brink of a nuclear abyss. Science and technology would be weaponized for the Reich's ends. Military fields like rocketry would accelerate, while ethical sciences would be neglected. Fields like medicine and genetic engineering would be utilized for the unethical purposes of racial hygiene and the creation of a master race, with inhumane experiments becoming widespread. Art, literature, and philosophy would face strict censorship. Modern art would be banned, and the education system would be entirely dedicated to indoctrination, preparing the young generation for fanatic loyalty and service to the state. History books would be rewritten to justify the German race's global dominance. The economic foundations of this order would rely solely on exploitation. The European economy would serve only the military and industrial requirements of the Reich. The free market would be replaced by a rigidly centralized, state-controlled system. Resources would fund massive military spending and monumental construction, leading to widespread poverty and technological stagnation outside the ruling elite. However, even within this totalitarian empire, intense power struggles would be inevitable. Rivalries among the SS, the army, and party leaders would create a constant web of intrigue. These internal frictions could lead to purges, assassinations, and ultimately, the formation of cracks within the regime itself. History shows that no empire lasts forever. In this dystopian world, daily life would be spent under continuous surveillance. Secret police forces would hunt down dissidents everywhere. Yet, despite the immense oppression, resistance could not be eliminated. Underground groups would persist in the shadows, fighting against tyranny. A world won by the Nazis is a dark warning illustrating the potential devastation of totalitarianism on humanity. Humanity's struggle to prevent this horrific outcome affirmed the value of freedom and its own inherent dignity.